I got drunk at his family dinner and told them I cheated. He got mad and kicked me off the table. I don't even know why I said it, like no one asked. No one pressured me. I was just drunk, sitting there with his mom passing mashed potatoes like it was Sunday at a Baptist church, and something in me snapped, and I said I cheated. I didn't even say it quietly. I said it like I was announcing a toast. There was this dead silence, like spoons halfway to mouths. His little niece stopped chewing, and his father blinked 3 times. And my husband, God, my husband, he just froze. I hated the look on his face. Truly. Let me backtrack. Not too far. Don't worry. I cheated. That part is true. I didn't even feel rebellious or excited or anything movie-worthy. It just happened. I stopped being attracted to my husband. I don't know when. I think it was a slow death. One day I looked at him and felt nothing, and I hated myself for it. Like, how did I let that happen to us? We used to be mad in love. That clingy, call you twice a day, finish each other's sentences love. Then life happened. Not in a bad way, though. There was no cheating, no abuse, and no secrets. Just life. Long work hours, bills, my body changing, him growing quieter. We became 2 people who sleep next to each other but don't dream in the same direction anymore. And I couldn't exactly blame myself for it. It's not like I wanted that to happen, so I stopped thinking about it that way and just hoped things would get better. On the other hand, my husband had no idea. He didn't know I had stopped seeing him as my soulmate. He thought everything between us was still great, and I couldn't blame him for thinking that way because I had to pretend to act that way till I figured out why that truly happened to us, me to exact. And during that process, I met someone. It was not even someone exciting. Just this guy at work who made me feel seen. That's all it took, apparently. I never imagined it. I didn't even flirt at first. I just laughed too long at his jokes. Then I stayed late at work for no reason. Then I let him buy me lunch. Then he touched my hand and I didn't pull away. And then it escalated. You know what's worse? The actual cheating part wasn't even that good. It wasn't some wild, passionate affair. It was quick, weird. I cried after. Not because I felt bad, but because I knew I wasn't leaving my husband, and I knew I'd do it again. And I did, twice more. Then I stopped. Cold turkey, blocked the guy, swore to myself I'd take it to my grave, go to therapy, work on my marriage, be better. And I was good, for like 2 months, real good. I stopped snapping at my husband over the small things. I touched him when I passed by. I tried to recreate the closeness, like maybe if I played the part long enough, the real feeling would come back. But it didn't, not even once. We'd have our intimate moment maybe once a week. Vanilla, polite, like we were just going through the checklist. No urgency, no pull, just him doing his best and me pretending to respond the right way. But my body was quiet. That deep, hungry feeling I used to have for him was gone, like someone had flipped a switch. No spark, no burn. I thought I could override it with effort, with kindness, with consistency. But no matter how much I tried to be better, something in me stayed restless. Like my body didn't care about my promises, my guilt, my therapy notes. The second time wasn't with a coworker. I wasn't dumb enough to make that mistake again. That whole situation already left a dent big enough. This one was different, random, nameless almost. I met him at a gym I'd been going to for a couple weeks. Not the type of place my husband liked. Too loud and too full of energy. He preferred calm environments, walks, quiet corners, and familiar things. I needed movement, music, strangers. I started going there after work just to burn off stress, nothing more. He was there most evenings. Not someone I paid attention to at first, but he noticed me. You can always feel that shift when someone sees you pass polite. He'd linger near whichever machine I used. Offered to spot me one night, even though I didn't ask. I let him. I shouldn't have. It started small, eye contact. Those brief, charged silences when our hands accidentally touched during weight changes. No numbers were exchanged, and there was no private chats, just pure, wordless energy. I started adjusting my schedule so I'd run into him. Sometimes I'd stay late just to catch him coming in. It wasn't about anything deep. I didn't even know his last name. One night, it was raining hard. I'd forgotten my jacket. He followed me out, offered to walk me to my car with his umbrella. I should have said no. I didn't. We didn't even make it to the car before it happened. Right there in the back alley beside the gym. Quick, dirty, and real. And for the first time in months, I felt something. Not love, and definitely not a connection. Just that raw animal part of me finally waking up again. Like my body had been flatlining and someone hit it with a jolt of electricity. After that, I didn't stay. I didn't even say goodbye. Just drove home in wet clothes, with my heart still racing and my hands shaking, not from fear, but from some strange mix of satisfaction and disgust. I showered, climbed into bed beside my husband. Didn't sleep. I didn't feel guilt the same way I did the first time. This wasn't a mistake in the moment. This was a message my body had been screaming at me for months, and I finally listened. All that therapy, all that trying, it didn't touch this part of me. The part that needed to feel alive, desired, and taken, and he didn't even matter. He could have been anyone. That's what made it worse. This wasn't about a man. It was about me, my need, my ache, my loss of something I used to feel so naturally with my husband and now couldn't even fake. I guess that's when I knew it for sure, that whatever I was trying to fix had already rotted. The roots were gone, and I guess that's the part I can't sugarcoat anymore. I don't think I control it. Not in the way people think control works, because I know right from wrong. I'm not confused about consequences, but my body has its own language, its own motives, and when it's unsatisfied, it speaks louder than anything else in my life. And no matter how much I try to build something stable and healthy with my husband, I keep coming back to the fact that stability doesn't turn me on. And when I try to force it, when I try to make that the goal, my body revolts. It checks out. It looks elsewhere. It finds a way to get what it wants. And I know how that sounds. I know people will read this and think I'm selfish, reckless, and cold. But I'm not. I wanted so badly to be different. I wanted to be the girl who made a mistake, learned from it, and never looked back. But I wasn't built like that. And I think I've been lying to myself about how much of this was ever really about him. Because it's not about him, not anymore. It's about the way I shrink in my own home. The way I feel invisible even when he's sitting right beside me. The way I'm touched like a routine, not a desire. The way he looks at me with love, but not hunger. And I hate that I care about that. I hate that I need to be wanted like that, but I do. And when I don't feel it, I look for it, even when I tell myself not to, even when I know better. So yeah, I cheated again, and this time it didn't feel like a collapse. It felt like confirmation, like the last missing puzzle piece that made everything clear. I'm not someone who can be satisfied by commitment alone, and that's not a poetic flaw or a tragic backstory. That's just what it is. I tried. I really, really tried. But whatever part of me was supposed to change didn't. Maybe it never will. Then last night happened. The dinner wasn't some big holiday thing. It was a regular Sunday plan his mom threw out on the family group chat like she always does. She liked keeping her boys close, 3 sons, all married or dating, and I was the cool wife who always showed up with a smile and a bottle of wine. I actually liked those dinners, or used to. She sent the message Thursday. Dinner's at 6. Everyone bring something. We're doing it potluck style again. My husband replied 2 minutes later, "We'll be there." I didn't even know we were confirmed till I saw the message. That's how it goes with us sometimes. He says yes before asking me, but I never complain. It's just dinner. That Friday was when I cheated. One night of no drama and just a blur. Then Saturday, I stayed quiet, guilty quiet, fake sick quiet. He thought I was just tired, made me tea, kissed my forehead, and Sunday came. I didn't want to go. My stomach was in knots. But what was I supposed to say? "Hey babe, maybe we skip your mom's because I slept with someone else on Friday and the guilt is making me nauseous?" Yeah, no. So I did my makeup, put on a black dress, brought a pie I didn't bake, drove with him in silence, pretending it was just one of those off days couples have. I don't know if he noticed how much I was sweating in the car, but if he did, he didn't say anything. So that's how that dinner was planned. Just a regular invite, a quick, "we'll be there," and a Sunday meal I should have stayed home from, but didn't. The table was already full when we got there. His mom, his brothers, their partners, even his niece running around in socks, which was normal, loud, and happy. A regular Sunday, and I was sitting there thinking, "You're a liar. You're a liar in a dress with store-bought pie and a dirty secret in your chest." His mom had made roast chicken, which is my favorite, and I don't know if it was the wine or the way his hand brushed mine under the table like old times, but God, I felt sick with guilt, and maybe I wanted to ruin it. Probably because I couldn't stand the way they all looked at me like I was this perfect daughter-in-law. Maybe I hated the way he smiled at me like he was still in love, and I knew I wasn't worth it. So I grabbed another glass of wine, then another, and then I opened my mouth and announced that I cheated. Just that. My husband turned to me, slow. His face went pale, then red, then something in between. "What did you just say?" And I said it again like a damn parrot. "I cheated," he laughed, that bitter kind of laugh. "You're drunk." "I am," I said, "but I'm not lying." His mom clutched her pearls, like literally, not figuratively. His sister stood up, grabbed her kid like I was about to pull out a weapon, and then he stood and told me to get up. I blinked and asked what. He repeated himself again, and I got up. Then I grabbed my plate full of food, untouched roast chicken, and flung it off the table. It shattered. Everyone gasped. His uncle said something, but my ears were ringing. My husband shouted I should get out. I was shaking, and I asked him if we could talk somewhere else. He told me I didn't care about anything when I announced it like a damn press release. I pleaded, and he just yelled for me to get out. The thing is, the moment the words left my mouth, I regretted everything. It was like I'd stepped outside my body and watched myself unravel in front of people who once called me family. I was drunk, yes, but not blacked out and not stupid. I was in that awful middle state where you're loose-lipped but still painfully aware of what you're doing. My mouth moved faster than my brain, and by the time I realized what I was saying, it was already too late. I said it because the guilt was eating me alive. That kind of guilt that doesn't sit in your stomach, it chokes you. It grabs the back of your throat and tightens every time someone says something kind to you. It had been clawing at me for 2 days, and I thought that saying it would set me free, but it didn't. It just lit a match and tossed it on the table. My husband's face, that's what did it. I caught his expression as I looked up, expecting what exactly? Perhaps anger, or confusion. But it was neither. It was something I can't quite name, but worse like hell. Like I had just killed something sacred in front of him. That flicker of hurt, layered under pure disbelief. It made my stomach flip. It made my hands sweat. It made my skin crawl. And then it hit me. I just destroyed everything. The room went silent, and it was not a soft silence, a dead one. Not a single fork moved, not a breath. Just that echoing, thick pause, and a wall of eyes staring at me like I was an animal at the zoo doing something disturbing. I didn't know what to do, so I reached for the only thing that would distract them from what I'd said. Chaos. That's why I threw the plate. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a stumble or a clumsy drunk move. It was a choice. A desperate, half-sober instinct to break the rhythm, to redirect the tension, to take all the burning attention off my words and onto something loud and physical. Because the second I saw his face, I wanted to take it back. I wanted to make it unhappen, but I couldn't. So I flipped the scene, threw the plate, let it crash, let them gasp. Let them think maybe I was too far gone to mean what I said, that perhaps I didn't know what I was saying, that it was probably just the wine talking. I supposed I was bouncing between too many ideas and options. Maybe I needed help. Anything other than the truth. That I said it. I meant it because I was scared. I was too scared. Not just of him leaving, but of the look he gave me. I'd never seen that in his eyes before. Not once. I acted wild because I didn't want them to see how calculated it actually was. That moment wasn't an accident. It was survival. Yet it didn't calm my husband down. He still asked me to get out. I had to. I left, quietly, walked past everyone, head down like a kid who pissed herself at school. I didn't even grab my purse. And now I'm sitting in my car in their driveway, phone in hand, writing this because I don't know what else to do. I messed up. No one's going to tell me otherwise. I don't deserve pity. I don't even think I deserve him forgiving me. I don't want that cheesy ending. I just want to feel something other than shame. I don't know if he's coming out or if he's talking to his family about what happens next. I don't even know if I'll go home tonight. But for what it's worth, I didn't cheat because I stopped loving him. I cheated because I stopped loving myself. I figured that out as I am typing this. And now I might have lost the only person who ever really tried to love me. Update. I didn't sleep. I couldn't even go back that night. I ended up in a 24-hour diner, still in my dress, drinking bad coffee and staring at the menu like I could read the future in the syrup stains. I didn't even eat. I just sat there while the waitress gave me side eyes, probably thinking I just got dumped. She wasn't wrong. My phone was still in my hand, still no messages, no calls, not from him, not from anyone in his family. Total silence. I felt abandoned, and that's what hit the hardest. We used to fight over stupid things like what to watch, what to eat, who left the lights on. He used to call me even during a fight just to say, I don't want to go to bed angry. Now, I told him I cheated and he let me walk out into the night without a single look back. I kept replaying it. The dinner, his face, the way the plate hit the floor, the way his niece stared at me like I was a stranger. I didn't even cry. Not at the diner, and not when I finally went home around 4 a.m. The house was dark. I half expected the locks to be changed, but they weren't. I walked in quiet like a thief. Our bedroom door was closed. I didn't open it. Slept on the couch in my clothes. At 7 a.m., I heard the shower. At 7:22, he walked past the living room like I wasn't there. I begged to talk to him, but he didn't stop walking. Grabbed his keys, his bag, and left. Door slammed like a full stop to the last sentence of our life. That was 3 days ago. I haven't heard a single word from him, and somehow this hurts more than yelling would. Since I couldn't reach him on the phone, I tried writing him a letter. I didn't finish it. Everything sounds pathetic on paper. I still love you. It didn't mean anything. I was lonely. I don't know what's wrong with me. How do you write that and not sound like a cliche? It's not like I don't know what I did. I know. I broke something sacred. And for what? For a guy who hasn't even texted me since I blocked him? For a fleeting moment that didn't even feel good while it was happening? Or for a stranger I barely knew? I didn't cheat because I wanted to replace my husband. I cheated because something in me was broken, and instead of fixing it, I smashed the only good thing I had left. That's what nobody tells you about cheating. It's not sexy. It's not fun. It's empty. It's stupid. It's like setting your house on fire because you're cold, and then realizing you just burned your home down for 10 minutes of warmth. My husband didn't deserve it. I know he's not perfect, but he was good to me. He was always gentle and loyal, thoughtful in ways that didn't always look romantic, but were. Like how he used to keep my favorite snack in his car, or the way he'd warm my side of the bed in the winter, or how he always made sure to kiss me goodbye, even when we were late or mad. Now that man won't even say my name. I saw his mom's number pop up yesterday. I didn't answer. I'm not ready for that kind of talk. Not ready to be called a homewrecker by the woman who once told me I was the best thing to happen to her son. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe I believed her. Maybe I thought I was too good to be stuck in a quiet marriage with fading sparks. So I lit a fire somewhere else and got burned. Anyway, today I cleaned the kitchen. Not because I thought it would help, but because it was something to do. He came home at 10:17 p.m. Didn't say anything. Went straight to the bedroom. I followed him. I apologized, but he didn't answer. I told him I know my apologies don't fix anything, but I just needed him to know that I am sorry. He turned to me. His face was blank, but his eyes looked tired. He told me I humiliated him in front of his entire family and I cheated on him. And then I told his mother like it was some twisted confession. I tried to return everything to normal by telling him that I was drunk, and the gibberish that came out of my mouth was not true. He told me to shut the hell up and stop making the situation worse. Worse? As if I hadn't already driven it off the edge. As if there was still a floor to crash through. But then he added the part that's been eating me alive since, if you're sorry, send me a confession. Say everything. On your own. That's the only way I'll forgive you. He didn't say it like he was offering mercy. It didn't even feel like forgiveness was on the table. It felt more like a challenge, or a setup, like he wanted me to nail myself to the cross and then decide if he felt anything watching me bleed. He grabbed his keys, phone, and jacket and left. Just then, I realized I was nothing to him anymore. And I guess that's what broke me. Because even when he was mad at me before, I still felt something. Anger, betrayal, heat. But now there was just a void, a clean, cold detachment, like I was someone else's problem. I sat with it for a whole day, replaying his words like 100 times in my head. The initial plan was to play dumb. I kept wondering if I should play dumb, pretend I was drunk, talking nonsense, lean into the pity card. But let's be real. I tried, although not hard enough in the way I intended. I think he's already connected the dots. Probably knew even before I said it out loud. Maybe that's why he looked so calm. Still, I'm stuck. Because I do want him to look at me again with something other than that dead stare. I want him to see the version of me before I messed it all up. The one who used to make him laugh in the mornings. The one he used to text 10 times a day. But I know that version of me isn't real anymore. Not to him. Probably not even to me. And don't roll your eyes like I'm trying to squirm out of responsibility. I know I cheated. I know I lied. I know I kept crossing lines until they weren't lines anymore, just gray fog. But the consequences? I wasn't ready for the kind that sticks, the kind that makes you question if you'll ever be someone worth loving again. I don't know if sending him the full confession will fix anything, or if it'll just be the final bullet in a story that was already dead. But I'm desperate. Desperate enough to do it. Desperate enough to hope. And maybe stupid enough to send it. What do you guys think? Update. After reading through some of the comments, yeah, I get it. Most of you were bashing me, and honestly, you're not wrong. But I held on to the ones that aligned with the part of me that still wanted to fix things. The part that still believed love, or something close to it, could come back. So I did it. I made the video, a full confession. I said everything. I cried. I promised him I would never do it again. I told him he could keep it, revisit it whenever he doubted me. I gave him everything, my shame, my guilt, and my regret. I thought maybe that would mean something to him, and hopefully there's a chance that would be enough to get him to look at me again with something other than disgust. He texted me a few days later, invited me to dinner, said it was about healing and forgiveness. I wanted to believe that. I needed to believe that. I was tired of being the villain in my own story. When I showed up, I realized my family was already there and our mutual friends. It wasn't just dinner, it was a gathering. And still, I hoped. Still, I thought maybe he just wanted to show me he truly forgive, and that was why he had planned this. Maybe he saw how broken I was and decided not to shatter me more, but I was delusional to think that. I guess that's what desperation does to people. He stood at the head of the table and was even smiling. Then the lights dimmed. He brought out a slideshow, a literal slideshow, projected on the wall. It started out sweet, photos of us, laughing, kissing, our wedding, trips, birthdays. People chuckled and smiled. My mother even wiped a tear from her eye. And then it changed. Text messages, screenshots, dates, timestamps, GPS logs, photos of me and the first guy. That's my coworker. Footage from a parking lot camera at the gym of me kissing the second one. I don't even know how he got it, but he had everything. Everything. It turned out he had been investigating the situation during the periods that he stayed away from me like I was a plague, because where else did he get all these evidences? I was embarrassed to the core. The room went dead. I couldn't even hear any sound of breathing. It was just quietness and judgment. My mother stood up and left. She couldn't even look at me. My father looked at me like I had killed his only child. My best friend refused to meet my eyes. Everyone else just watched. I was surrounded with people, but I felt so alone in this mess. He didn't say anything. He didn't scream. He didn't gloat. He just stood there, letting the silence bleed. When it ended, he picked up his glass, toasted to the future, and walked out. One by one, everyone followed him. I sat there, alone, at a dinner table full of empty plates and shame. I stayed for an hour, but it didn't stop there. A few days after that, I received an email that stated he was clearly divorcing me. But the last line of the email stuck with me, carved itself into my ribs. You said you cheated out loud in front of my family. The least I can do is return the gesture in my own way, and the confession was just in case you try to lie and deny everything. Stating that lying was now my new job, and he wasn't sure he could trust me anymore. He also added that letting me go was the only way he could forgive me. I was broken, and he did. 3 days later, I got served the papers at work, in front of my boss, in front of HR, the same HR rep who had been helping me during those therapy-recommended workplace sessions. The news spread across the office like fire in dry brush. I took the rest of the day off, never went back. He took the house. It wasn't petty, it was practical, it was his before me. The deed was always in his name. I had 30 days to get out, I had nowhere to go. My car insurance? Dropped. Policy violations? I called, tried to fix it. They told me to speak to my ex-husband. Turns out the insurance had always been under his name. I never noticed. I got demoted at work, then slowly pushed out. It was just humiliation after humiliation. Nobody said it outright, but I wasn't a team fit anymore. My coworkers barely looked at me. Most of them just gossip about me at every chance I get. My boss was suddenly unavailable. My work calendar dried up. In this city, it only takes one whisper to ruin your name, and I knew who whispered. And the worst part is, as much as I hate myself for what I did, as much as I try to own it, there's still this voice in me that asks, how did he not notice I was crumbling? How did he not see me shrinking, fading, not touching him, not laughing like I used to, not being myself? I know I'm the one who broke the vows. I broke him. I betrayed every version of love we'd built. But if only he had paid attention to me and noticed what I was going through, things wouldn't have turned out this way. There's a chance that I would found my way back to him without making all these mistakes. But he was blind and too into himself to notice me. And yes, I was wrong, but he deserved to be blamed too, because he played a part in this as well. I might have broken him, as you guys claimed, but he broke me back. Quietly, precisely, piece by piece. And he made it look like art. And that's the part I can't forgive either of us for.